they win that series, move on to face off against the Spurs in the Western Conference Finals.
Spurs,
David
Robinson was the
Robinson.
man. He was the man. They had Sean Elliott.
Avery Johnson, Vinny
Avery.
Del Negro.
I saw Avery. I used to watch Avery play in college, too. He went to Southern.
Southern, yep.
Dude was averaging, like, I saw him hit a few times, hit like 40 in a game. Like, dude.
You don't think of him like that. You don't think of him like that in the league.
You don't think about it. But if he came out of Southern, just imagine, when you come out the SWAC, you got to be able to hoop.
Yep.
Like, you can't, like, if you come out the SWAC, like, you might be able to get out in football because, you know, it's always historically a football, you know, you can get, but if you come out the SWAC and you basketball, you can hoop.
Especially like, 5'11".
Dude was shooting crazy jumpers. I went to a game. I used to go to Texas Southern games. It was him and this dude named Carlos Sample. You can look him up. He played for Southern too. Man, these dudes used to light it the fuck up. Like I'm telling you, Avery's hit like 30 a game, like easy.
Damn. Yeah. That's crazy because that's why he made it in the league. Like he made his game fit what the league needed.
His game fit the league. Yeah, because he was always small.
Yeah.
So he knew he had to make it work. But, you know, he made it to the league. So, yeah, they had him, Sean Elliott. They had Del Negro.
Dennis Rodman. And they won 62 games that year, and that was also the year Robinson won MVP.
And he got the award right before that series.
And, boy, whew, that might have been the worst thing they did for David Robinson.
And because Mario Elie said when he talked to Hakeem said, he said, yeah, he got my trophy. And that's what Mario Elie said. He knew it was personal. He knew it was about to be personal.
I tell you what, it looked personal too. Because that was like the signature Hakeem series, which is crazy because Hakeem always raised his game in the playoffs. Like he was always better in the playoffs than he was in the regular season.
Right.
And he even took it to somehow a higher level this series against Robinson. And
David Robinson was the man that year, though.
Yes, because he was incredible. And he just
while the Rockets were going through all their little shit with Clyde and losing games and Hakeem was hurt and being a 6th seed, San Antonio was the team that year, in the West, like shit. Because David Robinson was the man.
Yeah, I think they were the number 1 seed, and like this is where the bulk of, unfortunately for David Robinson, like Hakeem Dream Shake highlights come from this series where he just got Robinson. I mean, he was playing good defense on him, but
you can't do nothing with him.
You can't do nothing with him, and the stats. 35 points a game, 13 rebounds, 5 assists, 4 blocks.
That's crazy.
And I just don't know what you do with that.
That's a series. That's like a fucking
like that's your averages against the MVP of the league. That's your averages.
Dude, that's just crazy. And I think he was doing shit like in that game, in those games that we hadn't even seen before. Like some of that under shit he was doing, like that backward, he would do that shit, but like he was doing some wild shit in that series, dude. Like,
what in the world?
You get that? Okay, yeah. So that was wild.
And so, I mean, it's hard to lose when you got a guy doing that. So Rockets won in 6 games. That was also the series where Rodman. He refused to help double Hakeem. Like they wanted him to help Robinson out. And Rodman was like, that's your problem.
He didn't want to do it.
Then after the series, he went scorched earth on the organization.
Yeah.
Told them they were sorry, cursing out the coach. And Popovich was the GM at the time, cursed him out.
Yeah.
He
was crazy. Like, he was doing all kind of crazy shit right there. He's a good player, shit, of course.
Yeah, but
he wasn't And the thing about him is like people were amazed at like the stuff he was doing with the rebounding. But Moses was doing that shit. Like all the shit Rodman was doing, he was doing that shit long before that.
And
Like
Moses
when
was
Moses
doing
was with the
things.
Rockets, he was doing that shit. Dude, Moses was playing. He was like toying with the dude. He would get the rebound and throw it back up against the glass just to get another rebound and then score. Like because he was scoring too. He wasn't like Rodman. Rodman
Yeah.
would have had like 2 points, 1 point, 19 rebounds. Moses was having like 24 points, 19 rebounds. Like he was, and he was toying with like, because he talked about it. Like they used to interview him, and he would be like, "Yeah, I just threw it up there like 3 times to get a couple extra boards and shit." Like so, he would just know he could get it. Like he was doing shit like that.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it was crazy. Like it was crazy.
Oh my god.
Yeah. So went through them, and then it was Orlando.
Orlando Magic. You got young Shaq at his like Shaq was he was skinnier at this time, like
Skinnier,
young guy. You got Penny Hardaway.
Yep, Penny, Nick Anderson.
Yep, Dennis Scott.
Yep, Dennis Scott.
They had a squad. They had just beat the Bulls, like we were talking about earlier. They just beat 45 Michael Jordan.
Yep. They had just beat them. And they kind of like, they handled them too. Like it wasn't no.
Yeah.
They beat them in like 6 games.
I think it was 6 games.
I don't think it went 7 games.
No. So what was the feeling about the Magic heading into this series, like at this time?
Oh, by the time we beat San Antonio, we like, who is this dude? Like we didn't give a fuck. As fans,
that's
we
great.
knew who Shaq was, but they were a young team to us.
Yeah.
Like to us, when we, as fans, it was like, they had Shaq. Everybody loved, we knew Shaq. That was that. But it was like, who are the rest of these dudes? Like, okay, Penny, all right, whatever. All right, so, we were confident. But after that Robinson, David Robinson shit, it was like, I was confident.
Oh, I believe it after watching that. Because game 1 of this series is my first, like, complete memory of watching a sporting event from start to finish.
Uh-huh.
I can remember everything about it. I remember my mom was working, and I was with my grandmother. I can still see the couch.
How old were you then? How old were you then?
I was 6 years old.
That was in 95. 95. Okay, you were 6 years old.
6 years old. I can see it, and I remember it was late for me, and I remember like battling to stay awake because like the perfect culmination of events for a young basketball fan. You pick a favorite player, you start following the team, and they make it to the NBA Finals.
That's crazy that you were like a Hakeem fan.
Oh my gosh, it was wild. Yeah, I was like, you got to let me stay up. And of course, my grandma, she was right there with me. She was like, no, we've been keeping up with this team this whole season. We're definitely going to stay up and watch this game.
You were like, yeah, grandma's on the shit, dude.
Amen.
Dude, my grandma used to freaking like, wrestling was my shit when I was like 6, 5, that age. Dude, my grandma would wrestle with me while we watched that shit on fucking TV, on the couch. Like, we would wrestle each other and shit. Like,
that's so funny.
Do moves on her and shit. And I was like, dude, grandma's on the shit, dude.
Because that's how I learned how to play ball. Like, when the games were on in the daytime, we would watch it, and then we would go out on this little hoop, and she would let me practice what I'd seen on TV, obviously not coming close to replicating it and, like, slapping her in the face and everything. But that's how I learned how to play.
That's how you learn how to play, right? And that taught you a lot right there.
Oh, yeah.
Because when you playing with her, like, then you went out and played, like, you can just play with kids, because grandmas are the shit, dude.
They are amazing.
One time for grandmas, dude.
Yes,
like, I swear.
Truly blessed.
Yes.
And so, we're watching this game, and I remember the Magic came out, and they were ready to play. I mean, they're at home, they're young, they got energy. And it was a 20-point game at one point in the first half.
Yep. And they had the home court advantage.
Yep.
So we started there. It was a 20-point game. We brought it back. But Nick Anderson.
Yes, because Kenny Smith went off in the second half, and then the Nick Anderson free throws.
And it wasn't just two.
This man missed two, got the rebound, and missed two more. And he just had to hit one because they were up three. He just had to hit one to end the game.
Right.
And he missed four in a row. And I was looking what that did to him. So that fucked him up the rest of the series.
It did.
Game one, and we'll get to the end of game one in a second, but game one, he had 22, 11 rebounds, 5 assists, 3 steals. He was 9 for 18, 4 for 10 from 3. The rest of the series, 28% from the field, 29% from 3. Just was not the same player at all. Just messed up his mind.
Yeah, he was like one of my favorite players, like when he came out of high school, because I used to follow like a lot of those high school players back then, and he was big time when he came.
Oh yeah, he was nice.
Nick Anderson, Romeo Robinson, Terry Mills, like that '86 class. It was a bunch of them that I followed back then. Like, and he was one of them.
He was really good.
He went to King. I think he went to King High. I think he went to school with Marcus Liberty. Marcus Liberty was another one. He was on all the magazines. He was in all the magazines. He was supposed to be the best player. Like, you never heard about Marcus Liberty, huh? He went to Illinois.
Illinois, yep.
Yeah, he came out of Chicago. He was around the time when Ben Wilson and all them, like, man.
Yeah, because Anderson wore 25 for Ben Wilson.
For Ben Wilson. Yeah, so, yeah, but Marcus Liberty was the one. Like, he was the one that everybody was raving about. But then Nick Anderson turned out to be the one that actually, got there. But, yeah, so Shaq, it was Shaq. Shaq was doing his thing in that game too, though.
Yeah, he was hooping. And so, so tie game, Houston has the ball. Kenny Smith pump fakes Penny Hardaway. Penny Hardaway is like 4 inches taller than Kenny Smith.
Right.
Knocks down the 3 to tie it up. And he hit 7 threes that game. That was a record at the time for the final.
Right.
Going to overtime. 6-year-old Brandon is about to die because it is late as hell.
It's like midnight.
I'm like, oh, overtime. I'm happy it's overtime because that means we're still fighting. But overtime, I remember just doing whatever I could to stay away, like pinching myself and just like, I got to make it to the end.
Right.
And I was rewarded because, again, tie ball game, couple seconds left in overtime. I can still see the play. Drexler has the ball, blows by Nick Anderson, does his head down right-hand dribble. Shaq comes over to help. Drexler puts up a finger roll. He has to put it up high because Shaq's there. Bounces off the front of the rim. Who is there to tip in the game winner of game one of the NBA Finals but Hakeem Olajuwon?
Right.
I tell you what, I lost my mind for however long it took. It was 0.3 left on the clock, so not enough time to put a shot up. I was losing my mind, and then as soon as the clock hit 0, I was out like a light.
That's hilarious that you were up that late at 6 years old.
Could not believe, like, it felt like I was in a movie that I got to see this happen. My favorite player on my favorite team, game one of the finals, hits the game winner. Could not believe it. And I still remember, reading in his autobiography later, he didn't know he had won the game because everyone was so quiet.
Right.
So if you look at the tape, you'll see him kind of walking around looking around. Right. And then, of course, the bench charges him because he won the game. And the reason everyone was quiet because they were in Orlando. Right. But, man, I just remember how hard it was for me to stay up and how that happened and losing my mind and immediately
that was a tough
passing
game.
Out.
Like, that was a tough ending. I remember after the game, everybody was like, "Oh, if he would hit those free throws, y'all wouldn't win. Y'all wouldn't have won." You know, it was like if he wouldn't have win, if he wouldn't have. I was like, that's why he shot him, so he could miss him. Like
Exactly.
he shot 4 free throws, so you can't. He had a chance twice in a row. Like, and he
Back to
clanked
back.
4 times. He clanked them. Like that first one, the first free throw he shot, and then they like bounce around, maybe
Yeah, like
almost
rimmed
went
out.
in and some shit.
It
But
like
then the
rimmed
rest of them
out.
were like clank jobs. Like
The more he shot, the worse it was getting. You could see him like that butthole, like he was like lemon booty. Bomani Jones calls it lemon booty. He had full blown worst case lemon booty you ever seen. This dude could not. He
yeah,
was
I
up
hated
there
that. I
scared.
hated that for him. But
Yeah,
yeah, that's what happened. Like
but I mean,
so
whew, yeah, that was bad. So like they pull off game one,
yeah.
game two.
Next game was on.
Yeah, and it was like a little bit more of the same because the Rockets, I know they got out to a big lead. Orlando tried to claw back, but then we got Sam Cassell.
Sam Cassell.
They had no answer for him. He had 31 that game.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so at
he was
game
kind of
two,
cementing his legacy then. Like he was sort of like cementing his legacy then. He did it in the playoffs.
yeah,
Like he was like he always would come through in the playoffs.
because he had done that in the Knicks series too. So
yeah.
Rockets are up 2-0, won 2 games on the road, headed back to the summit. You got to be confident.
Man, we thinking brooms. We get like we because see by now we know that like Shaq is he's a rookie. He's a youngster. He ain't ready yet.
Yeah.
From the way that Hakeem was doing him. But Shaq was getting his because he was overpowering. You know, he was getting his dunks. He was getting in position. But from the way Hakeem was doing him, it was just like they ain't coming back. Like it's just like we up 2-0. They not gonna beat us twice at the house at all. So yeah.
Because it was surgical, because even Shaq was probably 300 pounds at this time. So he was smaller, but he was still big and still stronger than anybody in the league.
Yeah, he was still stronger than anybody. He was still like majorly strong. Yeah, like you say, he was 300 because I think he said, what did he say with the Lakers? He was 4 something.
Yeah, he was getting up 4 bills. So like,
he said he was like, nah, they just interviewed him not too long ago. He said he was, when I was with the Lakers, I was over 400. I was like 450.
Good. I mean, some of them pictures, yeah, I bet he was. I remember some of them. And I was like, damn.
With them Celtics, when he was with them Celtics.
Oh, Lord.
It's like 500.
Yeah, he was oh, it got ugly for Shaq. But yeah, I believe it. So just imagine if you haven't, and you should have seen young Shaq at this point, but he was a svelte dude for Shaq, but still.
He was swole, but he was skinny. Like he was skinny, swole, but he was still 300 pounds.
Yeah.
So like he looked skinny compared to when he played with the Lakers. If you watch his Orlando, he looked skinny.
Yeah.
But he wasn't though. He was like he was bigger than Hakeem.
Yes.
Like more muscular than Hakeem, and Hakeem was strong.
Yeah.
But he was just raw. He was just too raw. Like he was raw strong. He didn't know how to use it yet. You know, he didn't know how to. He wasn't really ready for. Man, when you going against Hakeem, man, you gotta be ready.
Yeah, man, you got to be mentally right.
If your name ain't Joe Klein, man, you gotta be ready.
You're in trouble. Yep.
Yeah, you're in trouble. Yeah.
So, game 3, closer one, but Robert Horry sealed it with a 3. I mean, stop me if you heard that one before. Like you said, he could still hit threes at this point, but he was doing a lot of different things.
Yeah, people just know him for hitting the threes because with the Lakers, and then with us, like that one, like they know him for the ones that he hit that's clutch. But in a regular game, just like everyday games, man, dude was all in the paint, dunking on people, like doing crazy shit.
Yes,
that's why I just kind of laugh when people are like, "Oh, he's just an outside shooter." No, he's not.
No,
he's not.
I thought he was going to be a star at some point because
right. I thought he was going to be a star too. Yeah, because when we kind of like when he first came to the Rockets, it was like okay, because he was kind of unknown. Like
Yep.
you didn't know about him like coming out of college. He wasn't like a big time college name. He came from another what school? Forgot what school he went to.
I think he
But
went to Bama.
yeah, Alabama. He did because we had Buck Williams, sorry ass, before that. He was like we spent the first round pick on Buck Williams. He came from Alabama. And then when we got Horry, we was like, oh shit, this another Alabama dude. That's right. I remember that shit. Because Buck Williams was trash. And they spent like a high first round pick. This was around in the 80s years, like those early, like late 80s. But yeah, Horry was a key in those championship years. He was key. Like he's a key. Every ring that he got with us, he deserved that shit. Like it's
Absolutely.
not like when he was with the Lakers, they try to say he's like a side dude, because he got all these rings now. And so he got like three, he got three with the Lakers.
Yep,
Like
3 with the Lakers,
two
and he
with
got a couple
us.
more with 2 with the Spurs at the end.
Right. So he got all these rings and they try to put him in a box like he just like some side 6-man type dude. Nah, when he was playing with us, dude was balling like crazy.
He kind of reminded me, I thought he was going to be like a Scottie Pippen 2.0.
He kind of was in that mold. He was sort of in that mold. He was a little bit, seemed like to me, Horry's a little bit longer than Pippen, though.
Yeah, I think
He's
he was
about
taller,
6'10".
longer arms. Yeah,
Horry's like 6'10", like
yeah,
tall. Pippen's like 6'7".
yeah. So
So
I thought, I
he's a
was like,
little
okay, this
longer,
is,
but he had the jumper though. You know what I'm
yeah.
saying? It was like, damn, this dude's 16, he got the jumper. Did he inside? He was nice though. To me, he was nice. Like
Oh, yeah.
he was a nice compliment to the team.
That was my grandmother's favorite player, Robert Horry. My
Oh,
mom
okay,
like,
then. All right, then.
yeah,
Shit.
my mom liked Sam Cassell. I was Hakeem.
Oh, you had everybody in the
Oh,
house on the Rockets
oh,
then.
we were all about it. We were
That's
all
what I'm
about it.
talking about. That's what I'm talking
It
about.
was the official Charleston, South Carolina chapter of the Houston Rockets fan club was right
Let
in
me
that
ask you
household.
this. All right, let me ask you this. I forgot to bring up this player we used to play for Rockets in 19 you gonna know who it is as soon as I tell you. I just want to tell you what year. 77, 78 was a year this was a year we got Robert Reed. You know about Robert Reed with the Afro?
Yes.
Robert Reed.
Yes.
Okay. But guess who else we got that year? Mike
Hmm.
Dunleavy.
Okay.
He's from South Carolina.
That's right.
He went
Went
to
to the
South Carolina.
Gamecocks, played with Alex English, I think.
Right. Yeah. So he was with the Rockets for a while. Like he was like little Irish white dude shooting the threes. Like he he had a little game. Like he had a little
He could
game.
hoop.
Mike Dunleavy had a game back then. Like he could hoop a little bit.
The
Yeah.
men's team
So
don't have players like that anymore. Well, I'm not going to say that because they have looked good to start the season, but
South
clearly,
Carolina.
yeah, the men's team. But the women's team, we're not worried about them.
Oh,
They're straight.
they ballers. Yeah, they ballers like for sure.
Dawn knows. She knows what
Yep.
she's doing.
Yep.
But yeah, so game four, not really a problem. Like
Nah,
ran away with it. Orlando had given up. I mean, they're down 3-0 on the road. They're young.
they're a young team. They
Yeah.
weren't ready for that. Like
No.
when they were down 3-0, they were like, nah, we can't do this. Like, because we had the pressure on by then. We were at home. Last game, it was over. Like,
So what's it like seeing Hakeem and Clyde finally win together? I remember the last play of the game, Hakeem hit a corner 3-pointer at the buzzer.
yeah.
And Clyde like laughing because it was hilarious that he would do that. And then them celebrating to see two University of Houston guys win it for the Rockets. Clyde's from Houston, gets his first ring.
Right.
What is that like?
It was cool for me because they had been through the trenches together and they didn't win. So when they were with Houston, with the Cougars, they went through the trenches 3 years in a row and got to the pinnacle.
Yeah.
And they couldn't do it. But then they get it in the NBA. So that's sweeter. Plus it's it's Clyde's first ring. So that was like amazing to me, That was, but when I think about back then, that was like the back to back, the whole, yeah, it was crazy, the back to back shit. But then you think about, I just hate to start thinking about the next, like,
Oh yeah,
the
it got
next,
bad.
because when you when you put on that little thing, okay, then we're gonna talk about the Barkley, the Pippen, and all. Like,
Right.
that was
Yeah,
like,
it was no good. But we'll talk some more about the win for a second, because Rudy T with the speech, never underestimate the heart of a champion.
never underestimate the heart of a champion.
Tell you what, 6-year-old me was taking it all in.
It's
You
wild
like
that you were 6 then. Like, that's wild.
I
Like,
was
you all that shit.
I just couldn't believe it. Like, I picked a team and I just thought that's how my sports fandom was gonna be.
You just thought it was
Forever.
gonna be like that forever. You picked a team, and
I was like, this is a
all
breeze. I don't know
the
why
breeze.
everyone else gets so mad. This is easy.
Right. So you
We weren't
didn't
that
like the Hornets. You didn't care for the Hornets.
No.
No.
I mean, I would pull for them
Right.
if they were
You were
not playing
watching.
the Rockets. Yes.
Right.
But
They
I
local.
was
They
yeah,
local.
exactly. But
Right.
I was die hard. Like, I was gonna argue with you about the Rockets.
Right.
Even as a child. Like, no, this is why Hakeem's the best. This is why Clyde's the best. This is what Robert Horry does. Because, like, I was about the Rockets, and everybody knew. Because I remember we played Pee Wee basketball. We get our pictures done. They used to give us these little. They give us to them on these trading cards that we could have a trading card of ourselves. Every year, one of the questions: favorite basketball player. Everyone else: Michael Jordan, Michael Jordan, Michael Jordan.
Of course.
I was like, Hakeem Olajuwon. I'd have my mom write it out for me in as straight of letters as she could, because I did not want them messing up the name. As though they clearly knew who Hakeem was too, but I was like, Hakeem Olajuwon.
Hakeem Abdul Olajuwon.
Yep.
Like, he had and then when they were in Houston at the U of H, they had the first name on the jersey.
Yep.
So he had Hakeem on the back of his shit. Like, Hakeem, though. He spelled it with an A. He didn't become Hakeem until he was with the Rockets a couple years.
Do you know the story behind that?
I don't. You can tell me. I probably heard it before, but I mean, I'm so old, I forget shit.
So what happened? Because this was something that I was curious about as a child too. His accent was so thick, coming from Nigeria, that H wasn't really a sound that they made.
Right.
So he went to his first college trip, was going to visit St. John's. He got out the airport. He said he took a step out the airport. That's too cold. He didn't even go to the college. He said, let's go to the next stop. He goes to Houston. He gets in a taxi, and he tells him he wants to go to the University of Houston, but he doesn't say H as well. So the taxi driver almost takes him to the University of Austin, but he was like, that's a long way to drive from here.
Right.
And so he showed up, and he was like, my name is Hakeem, because he didn't say H's. And so they said, well, Hakeem, that shit sounds like it's spelled Akeem. And so that's how he was. And then finally, in his career with the Rockets, he had enough confidence. He was like, actually, y'all been spelling my name wrong. It is Hakeem.
It's Hakeem. Right. Yeah. Yeah.
But it's just crazy, because I used to memorize everything about that dude. I even to this day, birthday, January 21st, 1963, Lagos, Nigeria. I could tell you, went to University of Houston, drafted first overall in 1984. I was just rattling this stuff off all.
You ever see his brothers play? You ever know about his brothers?
No.
He had two brothers. They played, like, one of them went to high school in Houston. He was playing for one of the high schools in Houston. This is when Hakeem was first guy with the Rockets. I think it was Teju.
How were they?
Brothers. They were tall.
I tell you what. If Hakeem was like Giannis, they would have an NBA contract.
They was like Giannis brothers. They was like Giannis brothers, but they didn't. Hakeem didn't have enough pull to get him in the league. But they were sorry. They were sorry like that.
Exactly.
Yeah,
that's funny.
Yeah.
So about this Rockets team, something that I found interesting that people don't talk about is how it kind of kicked off two different dynasties.